Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Steve Ankerstar, and welcome to the Ankerstar Wealth afternoon show today. Obviously, you can tell from the picture I'm out on the road, taking a little bit of a break this afternoon to get this out to you. We're going to talk about the new student relief package today. That took a little bit for me to kind of research, make sure what I'm telling you is correct and who it applies to. We're also going to talk about Snowflake and earnings popping up over 20% today. And then the last thing we'll talk about is the much anticipated Apple event coming up on September 7th and what they're going to release there and what as you know, most of my clients are Apple users. So what you can expect out of the new phones and especially that new iOS that they're talking about. But before we begin, this is a financial education presentation. You have to do your own due diligence for acting upon anything you hear in this presentation. Full disclaimer information available is available at ankerstarwealth.com. All right, let's take a look first of all at this proposal. Now, politics aside, right? So the student loan thing is obviously a hot button issue. They're trying to put a price tag on how much it's going to cost all of us to let some folks off the hook for their student loans. Obviously, the one side says that's too expensive, and if you take out debt, you should repay it. And the other side saying these are the exact people we need to help out to keep the economy going. Politics aside, what does that mean? Well, it's certainly not going to help with money supply, right? And it's not going to help with taxes. So by putting money out in people's hands, whether it's a 10,000 or 20,000, depending on what you qualify for, what you qualify for, even if you qualify. And then the second side of that is, what sort of tax impact are we looking at? Are our taxes paying for that? Which means our taxes are not paying for something else. But all of that aside, looking at maybe 8 million people affected by this. And what's interesting is I don't think there's a lot of people that are affected that'd be listening to this for saving and investing, kind of at the higher levels, if you will, because of that income cap of 125,000. So individuals who make less than 125, or married couples that make 250, that's good money, but a lot of people make more than that, could be eligible for relief. There's some dates in here, and up to 10,000 of student loan debt, 20,000 if it happened to be a Pell Grant. So really, and they tell you what to do is contact your service provider. So kind of similar to the, I don't want to call it a debacle, but a little bit of a debacle is the government passes something like they did the PPP loans back in COVID when we had the COVID Relief Act, and they said, talk to the bank, and the bank's like, we have no guidance. So I would be under no illusion that if you call your service provider, your student loan provider today, they're going to know anything more than you, right? It just has not trickled down. So don't get frustrated if you're trying to resolve this. There's people talking that it may get, the Supreme Court may weigh in and override this. I don't know. I kind of don't see that happening. It probably is what it is, and we can, get mad if you want and then move on. Either way, but if you can take advantage of it, it's obviously a large enough number for you to go ahead and find out about it and then try to get that money back. There is, and you have to talk to a CPA on this, but there are going to be cases where it triggers a tax bill. Okay, I would have to think those are rare, but I'm not going to go through learning all this. I've got other things to do, but just realize if you do end up getting this rebate for some weird way, it could be taxable. Obviously, that affects you. Either look it up yourself or contact a CPA for more guidance. All right, let's talk Snowflake. Snowflake, cloud data platform provider. It has just been a house of pain. It was up over $400. It got down to almost 150 this year. So along with the rest of technology, it's been beat up fairly or unfairly, it just has. So it becomes fact. But they beat earnings, that beat the top line. They're not profitable, but they are doing more and more to, get their ship righted. And, I think the stock is just bouncing because it wasn't bad news, if you will. So lots of big numbers out there when, that they're pulling in for revenue, big contracts and things. But when you look at the chart, here's where you can see that 400 back at the middle of November, kind of a straight line down. It was worse than I said, down to 120, right? I said 150, but yeah, it's really hit the bottoms there in June, which was kind of the low for the year. And I think we probably can all agree on that, even though I get challenged every day. It's like, I don't have a crystal ball, but yeah, I think the low's in for the year. And then obviously the pop today at 22%. So is it a buy, sell, or hold? Well, that's up to you. If you touch this thing, you have to be high risk, right? This, unless you're super aggressive, it's really not something you want to be putting your capital behind, unless you have a small amount, but then you're more gambling than anything else. But, and, maybe in the workplace, if you are a user of Snowflake and have some tie to seeing its operations, then maybe if you want to be a part of it, get a few shares. However, when you look at how much they're losing, the forward P 1400, earnings, I mean, just, lighting cash on fire, no dividend, of course, down big. I mean, there is a lot to like in these data providers, because once everything is set, then there's a lot of margin to be had there. I buy that. Snowflake, I don't know. Yeah, I can't get behind it myself. I'm not, it could easily go back to 400, 600, 1,000. But I can't quite get it myself unless somebody get there, to invest in it myself, unless somebody convinces me that there's something special about this company. So that's my take on Snowflake. Only participate if you want high risk, and there's no guarantees that this thing is gonna be around forever, right? All right, last thing we're gonna talk about is Apple. I'm a big fan of Apple, so let's go to the Apple website first. The big event is called Far Out, so they got the Galaxy thing. One thing I read today, since COVID, they've been doing these virtual events, and they've always streamed the live events. But what I didn't realize until today is that all of the events since COVID have been recorded. I always thought that was kind of funny, because for live event, I always thought they were assuming they were live, because they always have been live. And I was like, wow, these people really practice. Because I mean, there are no, see, I can't even get is and are right in a sentence, and they're delivering these hour-long perfect presentations. And I mean, they're smarter than me. I get that. But the whole, it's perfect. So anyhow, it's recorded, so they have time to edit out all that stuff. But anyhow, if you listen to these things, they're generally about an hour. They're generally kind of pretty cool. Excuse me, a little bit nerdy and techy, but whatever, I like it. September 7th, Pacific time. So you got to do your own math there. So it'll be at noon here in Texas. But if you want to check it out, here's what's really the two things that are expected to be released. iPhone 14 lineup, they're expecting 4 phones. I think the iPhone 13 had 4 phones. They're getting rid of this notch on your phone that everybody knows about. I can't kind of make mine happen, but I think that notch at the top, they're getting rid of that notch because everybody hates it. I don't know. I don't hate it. I really don't care. But really, it's iOS 16. They're going to give a release date on this iOS 16. The iOS 16, there's a number of things out there that are going to be pretty cool. But number one that people have asked for is being able to edit text messages instead of having to continue on and correct, right? Which we're all so used to doing now. We probably will anyway. We've been conditioned over this for 20 years. But editable text messages, I think people are really looking forward to that. And also, side note, Twitter's looking at being able to offer editing to tweets instead of having to retweet a tweet again, your correction, a little bit painful, or people usually just let it go and accept spelling errors and stuff like that in tweets. So September 7th, if you're looking for a new phone, there's nothing out there on prices, but inflation, I would expect that the prices will probably be higher than the 13. And then I don't know, last year with the 13, it seems like all the carriers were giving amazing deals. Like it was almost free to get an iPhone 13 in your hands. And yes, I get the math. So looking through everything, I don't know if the deals are going to be there because of inflation and things this year. So we'll have to kind of wait and see. But that's all I've got for you for today's show. Thank you so much for listening in. Please continue to ask your questions either directly to me through email or through the website. And that's all I've got for today. We'll see you guys back tomorrow. You have a good one. Bye.